Alright. Hopefully we're back. It all depends on if the baby wakes up again, you know. You know how it is. So I was just reading about optimal army composition. I already knew that your armies fight better when you consolidate regiments, and that your armies fight better when the ratio of infantry to artillery is good. Like you should have, I thought you should have a 1-to-1 ratio, but it turns out that artillery never takes damage during the fight unless your infantry all die. So most people like a 2-to-1 ratio of infantry to artillery. And then I've been wondering about cavalry. You cannot have more than 50% cavalry compared to your infantry, or else you'll suffer some penalty, with the owning and maintaining of horses being an expensive undertaking. The mounted warrior is the elite of an army. The speed of the horse gives a soldier greater mobility on the battlefield, while only the most disciplined soldiers can stand and fire in the face of a cavalry charge. I don't really know the point of cavalry. Some people say you should have exactly 2 cavalry units in every army, regardless of the size. And other people say you should have as many cavalry as you have artillery. Now, it seems like the fact that they cost 2.5 times as much and they're described as the elite units of combat would indicate that you should have as many of them as you can, but they don't seem to like do more damage. Their primary advantage over infantry, like look at these guys. They do no damage and have no morale. Like, why would I put those in my army? So then in EU3, cavalry was more important because they were the only ones who could get flanking bonuses. In EU4, anyone can get a flanking bonus on anyone else if that person that you're trying to get a flanking bonus against doesn't have any friendly unit to his left or his right. So if you have, for example, 1 unit fighting 2 units, then 1 unit from each side will just have a normal combat, and then the other unit will, the extra unit will like get a flanking bonus. So he'll do normal combat as well, but no one will hit him, and he'll do like 20% more damage or whatever the flanking bonus really is. So cavalry are able to get flanking bonuses against more often, because if a cavalry unit has no one directly in front of him, then, like, okay, if an infantry unit has no one directly across from him, he can only get a flanking bonus if there's a person 1 square to the right or left of where he'd normally be attacking, and if that infantry unit has less than 75% troops. So if a 1,000 infantry unit only has 749 troops in it, then he can't flank. He can't help his brethren. So basically, each infantry unit you field, his job is to kill the guy across from him, and once he's done with that job, he just sits there completely idle doing nothing. Unless he's at full strength, and even if he's at full strength, he can only help kill the 2 people next to him, whereas a cavalry unit with additional maneuver can kill people as many as 2 or 3 squares away. So that makes it so that, like, if you fielded an army of 10 cavalry against an army of 1 infantry, right, then you would have like 5 cavalry attacking that infantry, and the other 5 would be too far away. But if you had an army of 10 infantry versus 1 infantry, then you'd only have 3 infantry attacking his 1 infantry, and if your army was under strength, you'd only have 1 guy fighting his 1 infantry. So that's why so often I take an army that's twice as big as my opponent's, and we fight, and he kills exactly the same number of troops as I kill. It's because I'm not getting any flanking going on because I don't use cavalry. So basically, it just means that if your cavalry is really good at making you win fights dramatically when you're going to win them already, whereas infantry allows you to win the fights just as often, but you lose just as many manpower as your opponent loses. So having cavalry will save you a lot of manpower, but it'll cost you a lot of gold. And to me, gold is more valuable than manpower, so I'm probably going to stick to the mostly infantry and artillery mandate that I started with, but it's nice to fully understand how those things work, because for a long time I was just kind of curious and